Good morning.
Good morning.
One more time, good morning.
Good morning.
It is a great day in Oneida County. It is a great day in Utica. It is a great day in the Mohawk Valley. And I welcome you all here. I'm Oneida County Executive Anthony Pacenti, and welcome to all of you to joining me here at SUNY Polytechnic Institute. And before we begin our program today, I would like to acknowledge a few special guests that are with us here today. We have joining us Senator Joseph Griffo, Senator Dave Valesky, Assemblyman Anthony Brindisi, Assemblyman Bill McGee, Assemblyman Mark Butler, Chairman of Herkimer County, Jim Bono. Jim. Senior Vice President and Chief Operating Officer of SUNY Poly, Dr. Robert Geer. Dr. Geer. Larry Gilroy, the REDC co-chair and president of Gilroy, Kernan, and Gilroy Insurance. Larry? Stephen DeMille, the president of Mohawk Valley Edge. Stephen. My partners in government, Mayor of the City of Utica, Robert Palmieri. Mayor of the City of Rome, Joseph Fusco. My colleague down the block in the region, County Executive of Montgomery County, Matt Ossenford. Matt, thank you. We are also honored to have with us Howard Zemsky, the President and CEO of Empire State Development Corporation. And someone who had a vision for this place that is burgeoning every day, and we are so proud that she's a commissioner, Commissioner Roanne DeStito. Thank you all for joining us here today for a very special announcement. As many of you know who were here not long ago when the governor launched the Nano Utica initiative, it has been a tremendous step forward for this region. This region has seen growth under this governor and with this building and other aspects like no other time in our history. It is a growth that surpasses many generations. I am confident and I am proud that this city, this county, and this region are heading towards a brighter future because of where we stand and what this governor has led us to. So without any further ado, and getting right down to business, it is really my pleasure to introduce a great friend, someone who is, I can truly call a personal friend. We work very closely professionally on a variety of issues and have moving this county and state forward, someone who knows the Mohawk Valley, who comes here frequently, and who understands what it's like and is changing upstate New York for the better. My good friend, please join me in welcoming Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Congratulations to you for making this happen. Really. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, in this job, you do many events, and I've stood at this podium many, many times. But I can count on one hand how many times we were at events that I believed were truly transformative and historic. And we've done some historic things, some transformative things. But in the scope of life, relatively few. This is one of those moments where I believe this is a transformative moment that will make an actual difference in people's lives for the entire Mohawk region for a long, long time. We talked about Capital for a Day, which is where the state government comes to a region and we branch out and we address our specific areas after having consulted with the local officials. The local officials all had the same number one need. County Executive Pacenti, Mayor Palmieri, Mayor Fusco, County Executive Ossenfort, Vince Bono, they all had the same number one need: jobs, jobs, jobs. Why? Because if jobs are being created, everything else will take care of itself. If jobs are being created, it means there's opportunity, there's hope, it means young people are going to stay. If jobs are being created, it means people have salaries, they have incomes, they're going to pay taxes, they're going to buy homes, they're going to buy groceries, it's going to run an entire economy. So it's about jobs. That's number one. And it has been number one for a long time. Now, we're going to take a major step forward in that regard today. But before I get to tomorrow and the future, I want to make sure we talk about yesterday and how we got here. Because understanding how we got here is very important to make sure that we don't make the same mistakes again, right? And some mistakes we did make, and some were just the course of life. And it's not just the Mohawk Valley. You can go across upstate New York. It all has the same basic economic story presently because it has the same economic past. Upstate New York, what made upstate New York was our boom during the manufacturing era. We seized on it, the Erie Canal, Albany, Utica, Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, were all along the Erie Canal, and that's where the goods were traveling for a significant period of time in this nation's history, and we were along that route, and we built cities along that route, and that was our economy. And that worked great for a time. And then the economy changed. No fault of our own. The economic gods said cost of labor is cheaper overseas. A lot of manufacturing started to move overseas. A lot of manufacturing became moot in this country, and the economy started to slow down. And then the question was, what do you do once that economy starts to slow down? And when that economy slowed down, it created a vicious negative synergy. Meaning what? Meaning the job starts to slow down, the economy starts to go down, people start to leave. People start to leave, the tax base starts to dwindle. The tax base starts to dwindle, fewer people now pay more money in taxes. And that then starts to fuel the downward cycle. At the same time, the state government is raising state taxes, and raising state taxes like crazy, and becomes one of the highest tax states in the United States of America. And our attitude was, well, we're New York. We can charge higher taxes because we're New York. I call it our arrogant phase. People want to live in New York. They won't move. We can raise the taxes. And people were talking about more mobility, and businesses were moving, and people were moving. But we still believed that whatever we did with taxes, whatever we did with regulations, however difficult we made it, people and businesses were going to still stay in the state of New York. We were wrong. We were wrong. Mistake. We're talking this morning about highest property taxes in the United States. Think about that. Highest property taxes in the United States. You know what a young couple is going to do when they go to buy a house? Move. Why? Because people are smart. Highest business taxes in the United States. You know what a business is going to do? Move. Why? Because businesses are smart. Well, there's no place else to go. We're New York. Actually, there are. If you look at a map you will see to the west of New York these other shapes, squares, rectangles, funny triangles. Those are actually called other states. Now, they may not be as good as New York, but they are habitable places. They have been proven to be habitable. And if you keep raising taxes and you keep raising the regulations, people can go live there. And they did. And that continued to fuel the downward cycle. So now we're losing more people, we're losing more businesses, more taxes for the localities, the people who remain behind, and that's making the situation worse. And we're losing our economic rationale. And we don't really have the capital and the energy to recreate the economy, which, by the way, happens to be a very, very big, tough proposition. Okay, so yesterday you were in the manufacturing business. Yesterday was Griffiths. Yesterday was GE. They've moved. What are you going to do as a business line in the future? Tough question, especially when you're competing with so many other regions and cities that are about the same size that were in the same business. And by the way, who's going to provide the capital to help capitalize this new business? Well, government will. State government should. And you're right, the state government should have. But it didn't for a lot of years. Why? Well, state government doesn't care about upstate New York, only focused on downstate New York. Many people have said that to me. Caring bespeaks a feeling, and I don't like to comment on feelings. Factually, what happened is the New York State government is basically run by the legislature. I like to think I have a little something to do with it, but the legislature is the 800-pound gorilla. The legislature is predominantly from New York City and downstate. Overwhelmingly. Overwhelmingly. You have about 80 members just from New York City. And by the way, those New York City members all have one agenda: New York City. Senate, largest single concentration of senators, are from Long Island. And they have one agenda item: Long Island, right? Every legislator wants to do for his or her district. Well, who represents upstate New York? Who's fighting for the Mohawk Valley? Joe Griffo in the Senate. Very strong, very good. But Joe, Dave Valesky, they're outnumbered 50-1. You have Anthony Brindisi in the Assembly. He's outnumbered 100-1, Brindisi. So it was very, very difficult to get the kind of attention that upstate needed. That has changed dramatically over the past few years. That has changed dramatically. Why? Because we've insisted that it changed dramatically. And the legislators have put their foot down. We've actually organized the upstate legislators as upstate legislators. You know, there is no place called upstate New York, right? There's Buffalo, there's Rochester, there's Utica. There's no one says, I'm from upstate. And there was no unity among the upstate delegation. So you had all this power and numbers in downstate, and upstate, they were all fractured. They were all separate. They understand now that there's something to forming an upstate coalition. I told the legislative leaders straight out, I would not sign a budget unless it had significant economic resources for upstate New York, period. And over the past few years, billions of dollars have gone to upstate New York. Billions of dollars. And over the past few years, we reversed the negative that the state had created. I was going to speak to my friends at General Electric a few weeks ago. It was a social visit, and we were just catching up and talking about old times. GE was in the state of New York at one time. GE was here at one time. And they were very, very big. They still have a presence in New York, but they had their headquarters here, and they were one of the big founding companies of New York. And GE, in the mid-'70s, said, I'm going to go try one of those other states on the map with that other shape, because New York doesn't get it. And they left, and they went to another state that shall be nameless, and they set up shop. And I went to GE a few weeks ago, and I said, basically, you were right. You were right. I understand why you left. I understand what we did with taxes. I understand what we did with regulations. But we have changed. And we are different than you remember us. And that is true. We cut taxes across the board. We cut income taxes down to the lowest level since the 1950s. Corporate tax down to the lowest level in over 50 years. Manufacturing tax, we brought down to 0 because we're trying to bring manufacturing in. So we fixed the negative that the state had created. We recognized the need for investment in upstate New York. And then there's one other factor in the equation, which is the economic vision of what your business line is going to be. Because regions have business lines. We don't talk about it that way. We don't think about it that way, but that's true. I'll say to a mayor, I'll say to a county executive when I see them, just to shake them up a little bit, what business are you in? And they say, oh, well, I'm in government. I said, well, I know you're in government. That's why you're a county executive. What business is your county in? Yes, a county is in business. A region is in business. Buffalo made steel. We ran Griffiths Air Force Base. I understand yesterday. What are you doing now, and what is the economic future? And not what were you, but what are you and what will you be? And we have to recreate our economic identity and our economic future. That comes from the people in this room. I can't tell you what the future vision for the Mohawk Valley is economically. Only the Mohawk Valley can figure that out and come up with a vision, come up with a dream, come up with a plan, and then everyone together works towards that plan. And by the way, the Mohawk Valley is going to be a little bit different than the North Country, a little bit different than Western New York, a little bit different from Long Island. We don't have one economy. We have 10 regional economies, each one a little different. Now, to spur that process, which is unique, it's government-private sector partnership on steroids, we have the Upstate Revitalization Initiative competition, $1.5 billion for the regions that come up with the best economic vision, and we will then invest in it. And you've done very well in that competition, and you're developing a beautiful economic vision. We do have one statewide economic vision for upstate New York that is functioning brilliantly in Albany, and some isolated parts of upstate New York, and today is going to come big time to Utica. And that is That is an economic vision built around nanotechnology. Now, what is nanotechnology? Good question. Nanotechnology started as an economic vision by literally a single professor who was going to SUNY Albany back in the 90s. It was actually attracted to SUNY Albany by a state program that was financing innovations in science. And the state program was run by then the ESD of its time, Empire State Development Corporation. And the governor was a fellow named Mario Cuomo. And they ran the competition, and a professor named Elaine Calleros comes to Empire State Development Corporation 20 years ago and says, I have a vision. I have an economic vision. Nanotechnology. What is nanotechnology? It is the science of reducing the physical dimensions, basically, of computer processing. We had computer boards at one time, and the boards were reduced down, and then they went to chips, and then the chips got smaller, and the smaller you can make them, the more cost-effective, the more effective from a utilization point of view. And how do you make the chip, and what can you put on the chip, and what is the cheapest way to make the chips? That was nanotechnology. I am sure my father had no idea what he was talking about. But they gave Elaine Calleros a grant. He went to SUNY Albany. He followed his dream. It built, it built, it built. The state then invested in something called clean rooms. What's a clean room? You were in a clean room. A clean room is the room they need to work on these chips and manufacture these chips. They're designed in such a way that there's no particles in the air that can infect, pollute the chip manufacturing process. The brilliance of the state investment was that a clean room can cost hundreds of millions of dollars to build. The state invested billions, literally, in building the clean room. And the state owned the clean room. And then any business that needed to use the clean room had to come to New York and had to use the state's asset. And by the way, they couldn't leave because it was our clean room. And it was a very different economic model. Rather than giving a company money and the company builds and the company invests, the state invested. And we had the asset and the companies came. It has transformed the capital district, the Albany economy. Transformed. Home values have skyrocketed, not just Albany County. The entire region has been economically transformed. It is amazing. And it is the model. It's higher education, training people in higher education to work in a specialized industry, and that industry in partnership with that university. It has grown so big that it needs to expand. And the site to have it expand was Utica. And then we started making those preparations and talking about it. Now, having a vision, have a dream is nice. That's step one. Step two is do it. And step two is always the hard part. Then you have to build a building, then you have to find the financing, then you have to make it happen. So this was a very long road to get here today. But it started with the building we're in today, Quad C. It then was ambitious enough to envision an advancement, which was Marcy Nano, which is right across the way. And then it was about putting together the initial investment and the initial companies to get it started. Today, in Quad C, we're joined by General Electric. General Electric is going to announce that they are establishing their R&D facility here for studying how the chip application process. It's a total of a $200 million investment, $50 million from the state of New York, $150 million from General Electric. It will create 470 jobs, average salary $91,000. GE will be joining companies that have already committed to occupy this building, like ANSI, Tokyo Electronics, Sematech, IBM, total of $1.5 billion investment, which was going to be a total of 1,000 jobs. With GE's announcement today, it'll be 1,470 jobs right here. Across the street, Marcy Nano, 500-acre site, posed every conceivable challenge known to man. Army Corps of Engineers had to sign off, which is always a treat, dealing with that bureaucracy. If the county executive's hair went gray, that's where it went gray, dealing with the Army Corps of Engineers. But the permits are all done. The building is ready. The anchor tenant, which we are in the final stages of negotiation with, is going to be AMS, which is an Australian chip manufacturer. New York State will invest $200 million. AMS will invest $4 billion in building a plant. That will create an additional 1,000 jobs, so we're talking about 2,500 jobs right here in this cluster. Thank you. Now, the congratulations go truly to the people in this room. A project like this does not happen without a lot of people spending a lot of time making this happen. And County Executive Anthony Pacenti is right at the top of the list, and let's give him a round of applause. Roanne DeStito, before she was a state big shot and when she was representing the region, made it a point to say, when she saw the growth in Albany of nanotech, she said, boy, maybe one day it'll get so big that it's going to need more space, and I know where to bring it. And where to bring it was bringing it back home with her to Utica. So Roanne DeStito, thank you for what you did. Senator Joe Griffo and I have worked together a long time on economic development. We were working together both in different capacities when I was HUD Secretary. That's how long ago we started. But sometimes it's nice to see 20 years of effort finally come home to roost. Senator Joe Griffo, thank you very much for everything you've done. And you have a ferocious advocate in the Assembly who's taken Rowan's seat and is doing a great job. Anthony Brindisi, let's give him a round of applause. Now, This does two things for you. First, because I believe we create our own destiny, right? You can have breaks, some of them good, some of them bad, but at the end of the day, it's up to you. At the end of the day, it's the person in the mirror who decides your future and your fate, nobody else. What this does is not just 2,500 jobs. It's not just about 2 buildings. It provides you an economic engine that can drive an entire economy. You build from this. These companies will develop all sorts of offshoots. There's going to be all sorts of companies that want to do business with these companies. You have the beginning of an economic revolution here, but you have to stoke those flames. You have to work with it. You have to partner it. What else can we do, GE? What else do you need? What other division maybe that you could bring here? So this is not in and of itself an economic revolution, but it is the beginning of an economic revolution. And it is here for you now. And all those years of trying to put it together and trying to make it happen, you did it. You did it. Not the state, not the governor, not anybody else. You did it yourself. You were committed to the region, and you made it happen. And second, besides having an economic future and an economic engine, you gave people hope again. One of the last times I was here, I was talking to a young fellow who had a kind of sour look on his face. And I said to him as I was walking out, I said, so why the long face? He said, you know, I've heard it all before. I've seen it all before. You're just another politician with another speech and another plan. I said, really? I used to have a temper when I was young, but now I'm too old, so I don't rise to the bait as much, once in a while. But I couldn't blame him for that attitude, right? We have been in a bad place in upstate New York for 30, 40, 50 years. Some places we're on the second, third generation of decline. And maybe this, I have an idea, I have a hope. Yeah, but now it came true. And it is up to you to communicate the future is here. And it is happening. I know it was a long wait. I know there were a lot of gray days. But that was yesterday, and this is today, and look at what tomorrow can be. And we stuck it out, and we stayed with the region. And by the way, we have every asset that you could need. We needed that spark. We needed that energy. We needed GE. We needed AMS. We needed someone to understand who we were. But any asset God could give a region, He gave us. The best schools in the United States of America, the most beautiful landscape, the most beautiful history. Any recreation you want, you can do right here in the state. And the taxes are down, and the business environment is down. And you have all of that in one place. You can't find another state in this nation that has what we have. I've worked in every state in the United States. No one can compare to New York. And the last piece we have, and the piece that makes all the difference in the world, is the people. We have New Yorkers, and you showed your grit, and you showed your stamina, and you showed your heart when you lived through those bad days, and you worked for a better tomorrow, and the better tomorrow is here today. You deserve it. It's yours. You've only started. This is the first spark. Stoke those flames. We're going to have an economic fire. And this region is not just going to be what it was. It is going to be better and bigger and stronger than it's ever been. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Governor. If you've ever found yourself in a position of following that, let me know what to do. I will have my comments at the end for the governor, but thank you, and we'll talk some more with everyone. But it gives me great pleasure, as the governor unveiled what's happening here, to introduce really a friend of the Mohawk Valley, a corporate citizen of the Mohawk Valley for many years. It is so exciting for me, having grown up here, to introduce and to welcome back GE to Oneida County and to Utica. And so it gives me great pleasure to introduce the Senior Vice President and Chief Technology Officer of General Electric, Mark Little. Mark, please.
Well, good morning, everybody. It is a delight for me to be here today with you to celebrate an exciting new chapter for GE in Utica and to mark another major milestone on the path to building a powerhouse technical corridor that Governor Cuomo and the state are building from Buffalo all the way into Albany. A year ago in July, GE was proud to join New York State and SUNY Polytechnic Institute at our research center in Niskayuna, New York, to launch the new Power Electronics Manufacturing Consortium. At the heart of the consortium's mission is the development of the next generation power devices using an advanced material system called silicon carbide. It's a material that we believe will place New York State at the forefront of the next revolution in power for the entire world. Part one of GE's partnership with the state is well underway. At the SUNY Polytechnic campus in Albany, we're now building the world's most advanced line for 6-inch silicon carbide wafers. A wafer is the key building block for producing power devices that will make virtually every industrial machine in the world run more efficiently on electricity. Today, we're here in Utica to launch part two of our expanding partnership with New York State. The first US-based power electronics manufacturing center from device to power block, and we'll explain that later on here on the wall. It will truly be the first of its kind for an open innovation model in this field, and will attract partners from industry and academia to build this technological breakthrough. We'll work hand in hand with SUNY Polytechnic in Quad C to develop and commercialize more advanced power assemblies based on silicon carbide. Along with the wafers, these represent the central building blocks of power electronic systems. When you look at the history of electricity and power devices that have defined how electricity is delivered and consumed, you see that New York State has led the way. From Thomas Edison's demonstration of the first power station in New York City, to Tesla's revolutionary AC power transmission from Niagara Falls, to Schenectady's legacy as the electric city, much of the innovation that has built the modern-day electrical grid in the world originated here in New York State. GE has been proud to play a significant role in this history. Governor Cuomo and Dr. Caballeros together have shown great leadership in making history yet again in the future of electricity. From building the largest solar factory in the Western Hemisphere in Buffalo, to the exciting announcement of the new Integrated Photonics Center in Rochester a few weeks ago, and with this announcement today of our intent to expand the Power Electronics Manufacturing Consortium to Utica into the Mohawk Valley, you're not just shaping the future of how New Yorkers use electricity, you're shaping it for the entire world. Between Albany and Utica, we will create a silicon carbide corridor that runs between these two great upstate cities. The opportunity for what we invent in this corridor is tremendous. We're going after a rapidly growing $50 billion industry in power electronics. How well we do, how fast we innovate, will determine what share of that business will come home to New York. We are playing to win. With the development and growth of GE silicon carbide technology, we can begin a new chapter of GE growth and jobs for Utica and Albany for years to come. Industrial machines of all kinds, from wind turbines and solar installations to data centers and hybrid cars, run on power electronics that efficiently manage power delivery. Power electronics come in varying degrees of advanced packaging in the form of modules and power blocks. Power blocks are made up of a series of modules, while the modules in turn contain chips made from wafers. Today, companies look for different degrees of packaging for their products. Some companies want just the chips so they can design their own modules and power blocks. Others want the modules built for them so they can assemble them into power blocks. And still others want the full package or power block designed to plug in their machine. What we're doing here today will develop all three of these essential pieces. Silicon Valley, as you know, pioneered silicon devices for computers. Today, SUNY Polytechnic and GE are pioneering silicon carbide devices and packaging for power electronics. As you know, Silicon Valley created the underpinning technology for electronic devices that are enabled by electric power. New York's silicon carbide corridor will create the next generation of devices that will run every electronic device more efficiently than ever. In Utica, GE will contribute years of intellectual property development value and support hundreds of jobs at the SUNY Polytechnic campus. With access to great talent and world-class facilities, SUNY Polytechnic's Utica campus provides the ideal location for GE to scale up breakthrough applications in power electronics with our silicon carbide technology. It is our belief that GE can attract, with the state, hundreds of more jobs to the region from companies and entrepreneurs who want to work with this world's best electronics packaging technologies. Together with SUNY Polytechnic, we'll perform manufacturing scale-up of silicon carbide modules and power blocks for energy-efficient application across the U.S. and around the world. Silicon carbide power devices will set new standards in power savings for virtually everything that converts or uses electricity. Governor Cuomo, thanks for your leadership, again, in making the commitment that you are to the consortium and for building a magnificent high-tech corridor that I have no doubt will attract new high-tech businesses and job growth for many decades to come. Thank you very much.
And the hits just keep on coming. Thank you, Mark, very much for that. And now I would ask you to direct your attention to the screens for a short video from our new friends at AMS. We'll be hearing from Dr.
Good morning.
Thomas Stockmeyer,
this is
Chief
a video
Operating
message.
Officer.
My name is Thomas Stockmeyer, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer of AMS. As you can see from the background, this is not a professional recording, but it's done at my home. Dear Governor Cuomo, dear Dr. Caloyeros, dear distinguished guests, today the Governor announces the construction of the next AMS wafer fab, which we internally call Fab C. For AMS, but I think also for the region, this is a very important milestone. AMS is a semiconductor company specializing in sensor solutions and high-performance analog integrated circuits. And while AMS might not be a household name, let me ask you this. Who of you has a smartphone? Who of you drives a car? And who of you lives in a house with plumbing, electric light and appliances? If you can answer any of these questions with yes, then there is a high probability that you are familiar with AMS technology without even realizing it. AMS sensors are all around you. We provide light sensors, color sensors, position sensors, ICs for metering, wireless transmission, and many other technology solutions that make our devices smarter, more intuitive, more energy efficient, and more connected. Sensors and sensor solutions, as we call them, are ubiquitous. And this is only the beginning. Think of self-driven vehicles, which will greatly improve traffic and which will reduce our carbon footprint. I know that probably half of you will hate the thought of self-driven vehicles, whereas the other half of you can't wait for the moment when this technology arrives. Think of biosensors, which, in combination with wireless transmission and big data, gives us the tools and means to stop exploding costs of healthcare in developed countries and to provide much better healthcare infrastructure in emerging and underdeveloped countries. And last but not least, think of the Internet of Things, where sensors are at the very core of more intelligence. Sensors enable the Internet of Things to emulate human senses and to register changes in temperature, in position, in light, in pressure, in sound, in motion, in air quality, and more. Sensors are the critical component of the Internet of Things, turning billions of objects into data-generating things that can report status and interact with the environment, and thereby greatly changing our daily lives, the productivity of our industry, and the consumption of energy. All of that is happening, of course, already, and it is happening on an accelerated path. With the new fab, which is announced today, all of the technology I've spoken of will come from Utica, here in upstate New York, embedded in an environment of advanced research in photonics, in biosensing, in nanotechnology, and much more. With our products and development portfolio of mixed mode and analog ICs, wafer scale packaging, and software, AMS can stimulate R&D work in the region, the same as we will be stimulated by many R&D activities in SUNY Poly and all other institutes in the New York State. We want not only to produce advanced wafers in this highly productive new wafer fab, we want to establish ourselves as a valuable contributor in the region and as an ambassador of the region through our products developed and manufactured right here. I would like to thank the state of New York. I would like to thank Dr. Calieros and his management team at SUNY Poly, Steve DiMeo and his team, and all the other people and institutions who have been involved from the very first contacts and visits up to today's event to make this work. I feel personally that we can add an important piece to the puzzle which makes this region the world's leading technology hub for micro and nanotechnologies. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Stockmeyer and AMS. We look forward to seeing you. And now, as the governor talked about the partnership and the people that worked on this, I've had the pleasure of working with the senator in a number of areas, and in particular on this project for many years. Would you please join me in welcoming Senator Joseph Griffo?
Is this not an exciting announcement? Is this not an extraordinary opportunity? This is truly a day not only with positive news and energy, but it's a day of transformational possibilities. I am proud to stand up here today, joined with my local partners in government. County Executive Pacini, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for all of the efforts that local governments working together have done here today. It's great to be with our Senior Vice President at GE. Mark, welcome back. And the governor, go ahead. The governor told a story about the state and how together, working with the legislature and the executive through his leadership, we have been able to change the complexion of this state. So people begin to look at New York differently. And the GE story is a great story. Someone was here, who made such an important and played such an important part of our history, who left but came back because they see the potential and the good things that are on the horizon. And that is a result of this governor's leadership, working with the legislature and turning the complexion of this state around. Thank you, Governor, and welcome back. Mark, one of the models of GE where we bring good things to life, and today you're bringing great things to our community, and we appreciate that too. Working with our delegation here, I want to thank Senator Valesky, Assemblyman McGee, my partner, Assemblyman Brindisi, Assemblyman Butler, who's in the room, everyone who worked together to make sure, as the governor indicated, that we communicate and that we form a coalition as a region. And that has made our voices heard more across the corridors of the Capitol, and I want to thank all of them for their efforts here today. Look, there were many that wondered when the announcement would come. The years passed, and understandably it tested a lot of patience. But for those who worked tirelessly hand in hand, who set the stage for this moment and this announcement today, this community has never lost faith. And I think today is an illustration of why this is such a great community. Because we are a community of passion, and we believe in ourselves, and we know that through hard work, things can and will pay off. So today, this easy step, it didn't come easily, but it came because of a lot of hard work. And it came because of the dedicated team here, of the local officials in local government, of Steve DeMille, Mohawk Valley Edge, of our county leadership under County Executive Pacenti, of the state leaders, including the governor, and Roanne DeStito, who preceded Anthony in the Assembly, and my predecessor, Senator Ray Meyer. All of their efforts. Let's hear it again for their... Collectively, we remain dedicated over these years to make this vision a reality. And we would not be standing here today if we did not have that type of relationship and work as a team effort and a leader like Andrew Cuomo. Thank you, Governor, again. This takes the Mohawk Valley, in my opinion, into another bright, promising step towards our future. It's a great economic transformation to this region with more jobs, more confidence, more investment. And the governor's right. Now this sets the stage. We need to continue to build upon this. And we need to be ready and willing to do everything and whatever it takes to move forward together as we have today to ensure that our success continues. So I think today is not only a historic day in this community, but what we've accomplished here demonstrate how under this governor and our state today is transforming what we look like as a state and what we are doing as a state. We know of the talent of the workforce here and the leadership that exists in our higher education community and throughout all segments of this community to revolutionize nanoscale technology. We have a huge deal here today that has been announced. This is great excitement and energy. It has been launched today, but we need to continue to see this move forward. It's a highly competitive field. And I know that with all of our efforts, this community continuing to believe in itself, with the governor's vision and his continued leadership, and with the attention and the support of the private sector, that we are going to keep this progress going. And we are going to see many other good things coming to this area because of this new sense of confidence, this new sense of energy, this new commitment. All of us will be benefactors. We will all benefit. Thank you all for being here today. Let's share in this. Let's continue to grow this. Governor, thank you. I am proud to have played a part in this, and I want to join now in introducing another partner in the New York State Assembly, Anthony Brindisi.
Wow, this is such an exciting and emotional day. I don't know if I should be laughing or crying. But I can tell you this is probably the biggest economic news the Mohawk Valley has received in over 50 years, and I'm very excited to be a part of it, and it's due to Governor Cuomo's efforts. So. I want to thank everyone who's here today. It's certainly my pleasure to be with everyone for this exciting announcement, two exciting announcements. And this is another massive step forward for our community, one that builds on progress that we have already seen and that will bring more than 1,000 additional jobs to our region. These are well-paying jobs, high-tech jobs that will grow our middle class and make our area a region where you can work, raise a family. We won't see our college students leaving to find good-paying jobs. They'll find them right back here in the Mohawk Valley. This announcement really cements our region as a leader of one of the most competitive, modern, and important industries in the global economy. And this work today could not have been made possible without the help of many different people, from Steve DeMeo and all the folks at Mohawk Valley Edge to my predecessor, Roanne DeStito, who had an early vision to make this a possibility and stuck with it. To my friend Senator Griffo and to County Executive Anthony Pacenti, two men that I could tell you don't let party get in the way of progress and who I am proud to work with every day for our area. And companies like GE and AMS who have made a commitment to our region, who have brought hope to our region, and we're seeing that hope transpire on the streets. When you talk to people, you see the optimism out there. You see developers coming back into our area. You see entrepreneurs who are willing to invest in our downtown again. There are exciting things happening in the Mohawk Valley today. Of course, I think the biggest credit has to go to Governor Cuomo. You know, when I was elected 4 years ago, people would say to me, "Why do you want to run for office? Things aren't happening. You know, there's a lot of bad things happening in the state." And it was about the same time that the governor was elected. And it has been an honor and a privilege to watch him work across upstate New York. He's right. He is a voice for us in upstate New York. I try to be a ferocious voice in the assembly, but it is great to have a partner like him and someone like him who can suggest things like forming that upstate caucus. When other governors talked about upstate revitalization, it was talk. But this governor has delivered upon it, and he's delivering upon it big time today for our region, and I'm proud to call him a friend. We have a lot more work to do here. This is the beginning. The seeds have been planted. There's a lot more that's going to come as a result of this, and we all have to work together to make this day a reality and make this dream come true. I want to thank all of you for being here today. Today really marks a turning point for our region. But the real winners today are the people of the Mohawk Valley. We are going to transform this area, nanotechnology, advanced manufacturing. We are going to become an economic and a high-tech powerhouse again like we were many, many years ago. Our best days are ahead of us. Thank you, Governor Cuomo. Thank you all for being here today. Let's get to work.
Again, I got to follow all of this other stuff. But thank you, Governor. First and foremost, and while I give my thank yous, I really do want to first and foremost thank the governor for his commitment years ago, even from the time that I worked with him when he was Attorney General and as we moved forward. And as he became governor, we talked about these things. And one of the great skills of Andrew Cuomo, and he has many, is he listens and he understands and he cares, and he did. And I'm proud that he did that because I am proud to serve with a governor who listens, who is reachable, who understands what everybody needs and what the Mohawk Valley needed. And so to Governor, thank you for believing in us, for trusting us, but for working with us and having faith. And we work together well, and there's more to come. And God bless you, and thank you for what you've done for this region today. I know that many people have been thanked throughout the team that we have assembled, the elected officials, and I just want to talk about a couple other people. He's been mentioned a couple times, but I've journeyed along this path for a number of years in my previous life in state government and county government before that, but Steve DeMio has been and continues to be the lifeblood of what has been Nano in this community. And he has gone through a lot of rough times in terms of when, as we all have, when is it going to happen? When are things going to come through? He's never given up. He's never allowed us to get up. Him and I made many trips to Washington to deal with the Army Corps, to Albany, working with the governor and his people on numerous times to get this moving. And really, to Steve DeMio of Mohawk Valley Edge, a great thank you, because this is your dream, Steve. You enjoy this today. Senator Griffo mentioned Senator Meyer before, who also was so instrumental. I heard he was in the House. I'm not sure if he is. Ray, thank you for your vision many years ago in working with the team to get this done. So many thanks to the people of this community. I also have to thank my wife for putting up with, my wife Eleanor, for putting up with the calls over this last vacation, which was just a couple days ago as we were preparing for this, and all that we have done, and she's heard Nano more than anybody, I think, in the last several months. It is an emotional day for us. It really is, for anybody who grew up here, who understands and believes, and always saw the best days ahead. They are. And my plea to the people, as the governor said, is we will keep going. We will move forward. There's more work to do, and we can do it here. And anything can be done here that can be done anywhere in the world. We are doing it in the Mohawk Valley. We are doing it in Oneida County. Thanks to the governor's leadership. Thanks to the partnerships that we have. Thank you, GE, for coming home again. Thanks to AMS for believing in us. I am proud to serve with this governor. I'm proud to serve with the local leaders that sit before you here, the mayors, the supervisors. I want to thank the Oneida County Board of Legislators, led by Chairman Jerry Fiorini, for believing in this project. And every time I went for another expenditure, they approved it. Thank you to the Board of Legislators for what you've done to move this county forward. And as I said, I'm proud to serve with all of you, but I'm proud to serve the people of this county. They are the best. They believe. For all of those who have continued to believe, thank you. Thank you for your faith, for your belief, for your trust, and we will move forward. And I leave, and I was going to have the last word, but it is really fitting, and the governor and I decided that really the last word of today goes to someone who really saw the vision of this campus many, many years ago. And she's been mentioned a few times today, and I'd like to thank her and call her up here to say a few words. Roanne DeStito.
This is a great day in the Mohawk Valley. The governor said, talk from my heart, and it's the only way I can talk to you right now. Governor, it's been a privilege and an honor to be one of your cabinet members. I've worked hard, but you've worked even harder. You've had me work to transform government, and now you've come here to transform my community. I could never thank you enough. This was a vision that I had with a whole bunch of people Steve, where's Steve? Steve DeMayo, and all of the economic development people, Tony Pacenti, all of the elected officials. We had this vision. I knew from years ago, because I started in government a long time ago, we knew that this campus was supposed to be a tech campus. And GE, thank you for coming back home. This campus was a jewel, but it needed to shine. And Governor, you gave it the shine, so thank you so much. I believed in the people. I spent 19, almost 20 years representing wonderful people here in the Utica-Rome, Mohawk Valley area. This is our dream. This is our transformation. This is the best is yet to come. And I know that the people of this community will step up to the plate and make it the best it can be. We have a great workforce. We have great people. And we have the oomph that's going to make this the best and the reality that I saw. I just don't know what more to say, but thank you to everyone who had a role to play in this day, because this is a dream come true for me, because I love each and every one of you here in the Mohawk Valley. And now that I have this greater role, the governor is really making things happen. I just talked about it yesterday. The governor is transforming this state, and I've had the fortunate part to play in seeing the economic development transformation throughout the state, upstate especially. Governor, 4 years ago, I was traveling around and things were grim, just as you said. But yesterday and last week and the week before, I've been all over the state, and you are making a difference. And I'm so proud to be a part of your team. Thank you very much, and God bless everybody.
My last word is that does conclude the program. Enjoy your day. Let's move forward.